What's up, and welcome to another SPL recap. I am joined here by the regulars. I got the Oracle, um, I got the Stat Lord, and then I have, I think, probably the most controversial manager in all of SPL, Mr. Eric himself. Eric, how are you feeling today?
Doing good. Hello.
You've been having a pretty good season so far. I think a lot of people didn't have their stocks too high for you after sort of intentionally tanking the first season. But I just want to take a little bit of space to give you some props. Um, your team probably could be better, but they are putting some results down on the field. Um, do you feel like you have a championship roster at this point?
Yes, I really do.
Okay, well, he's putting it on the line there. We have a crap ton of games to get through. Just because we did not pod last week. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're not gonna fixate on any game too much, especially the week 4 games that I don't think too many of us have a lot of memory of. But week 4 started off with Adam versus Dave. I believe that this was an absolute guarantee. Um,
Hey Austin, you
Just
normally stream
a
to the
guarantee.
we cannot see what you're looking at.
that's really good. Um, appreciate the heads up. And now,
Ah, there
everyone
it
can
is.
see what I've been doing. So,
There it is.
and
I believe this
actually,
was just a guarantee, not an absolute guarantee.
that is
as well.
correct. And I now have even fixed what they see even better. I believe you guys can see
Huge. Yes.
Yeah.
cropped. Okay. Cool. Great start. But yeah, no, just a regular guarantee. I think this one very much truly came down to a captain's diff. Um, Colin, do you feel like Wario is primed to have as good of a season this year as last year?
I mean, he's just built different in the regular season. We'll see what happens when the playoffs come around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was we'll get to it later, but this would be the last time that we would ever see Daisy trod the boards for David, as a trade was executed. Um, Next game, Reed versus Grant. Colin and I both predicted Reed. Ham betrayed his family like the snake that he is. Took
Absolutely.
Grant. um, I'm gonna ask the same question I ask every week because my only insight into what's going on in Reed's mind is through Hamilton. Do you have any idea what his thoughts or feelings were after this result?
Thoughts and feelings after this result? No, I do know either this week or last week he did actually watch some SPO, and so I think that might help him moving forward. But I obviously won't guarantee anything, seeing as I'm also pretty certain that he and I were two of four managers to not submit rosters this week.
Yes.
But I do think he's starting to pay attention a little bit more, and I'm interested to see how that might affect decisions moving forward.
Check out this shot right here. I mean, I know it gets hit by a banana, but still, like the fact that it's this far away is pretty hilarious. Um, but yeah, pretty handy win. For Reed, not yeah for Reed. Um, and I believe I'm not looking at it right now, but I think he is 4-0 on Wasteland, which the fact that 4 out of the 5 weeks someone has let that through against him is pretty crazy. However, this week in week
He
4
is
he was
4-0 on Wastelands.
yeah, he was playing against Grant, so not surprising at this point. Everyone knows what Grant's map rotation looks like a little bit. Um, Next one was another guarantee that we all three nailed. Jaco took it against Freddie. I think this was a pretty banger series. Jacob kind of trolled his map pick by letting Wastelands through, which was achieved by not submitting a form.
Who would be so stupid and not submit a form?
I wonder who.
I think this was.
Possibly
Crazy.
can't start. Possibly can't start with an H.
I think it was a. I think Freddie was actually in the call for this game. I think it was his only appearance all season.
I think
So
that's correct.
yeah, good to hear that the boy's alive. I know he's popped in the Discord to say that he is engaged and is paying attention. These are two pretty middling of the pack teams in the Spellcasters. Eric,
Which is the elite conference.
obviously.
Clearly, obviously.
Eric, at the top of the Spellcasters, do you have any fear of Jacob or Freddie coming for the regular season title?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I really don't.
which I think is
I feel like-
probably fair.
Both of those teams lost to me.
Let's see, Eric, who do you still play?
Adam, then Fred, then Dave.
And
I don't.
you already beat Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's Adam? Who's Adam? Is Adam Junior?
No.
Oreo.
Mario.
Wario?
He's a better
Adam
team
is
than me.
definitely the one I fear most
Yeah.
of these three.
Likely.
After Adam.
We'll get into Preds, but most likely this week 6 game right here at the top is going to be for the conference, especially with later results pending the following week. But yeah, Jacob beat Freddie. Colin and I in a podcast grudge match played out a series. Colin, any thoughts?
If I remember correctly, we just got captain diffed.
Yep.
I think DK just threw the ball in the net consistently, and we managed 2 goals across 2 games.
Yeah, certainly a captain diff moment, but DK continues to put out a pretty outrageous clip of goals. I believe he's still in the lead for the Golden Boot, and I think if you convert that to goals per game, it gets even slightly better. But Diddy's never going to match that.
Yeah, 2.5 goals. 2.5 goals per game for DK. Meanwhile, my team's barely averaging that.
What is Diddy's goals per game?
Yeah, my team is at 2.8. Diddy is scoring 1 goal per game, which is 4 times higher than the Princesses.
Whoa.
To be fair, on the other stat you pulled, my team's goal per game is not far off of DK's either.
That's true.
It changed a little bit this week because my Monty actually scored, but up until week 5, only 2 goals out of like 25 were non-DK goals. So I'm not, like you said, captain diff.
Yeah,
happens to the best of us. Some of us opt in for it though. Next game we had actually this certainly was game of the week. I'm gonna go ahead and toss on map 3 of this series. Well, honestly, we might even need to make a pit stop into map 2. As of the time of recording, this was the single game goal record between these two teams. I think it went up to 13 goals. Garrett has a lot of chatter about, I believe in his mind, the tier list for MFMK goes Danny's team and then the Mario Bros in second and third, which, to be fair, based off results the past 2 weeks, doesn't look that bad. Hamilton, as an outsider looking in, do you think these Mario Bros teams have legs in the playoffs?
It's hard to say no with the simple goal production that they can put down. However, I would also state that I don't think that they defend all that well. I think I'm trying to look at the stat right now.
They're like top 4 for goals per game, and also like top 4 for goals against per game.
That's what I was thinking. With their goal differential is nothing crazy, like 7 and 6 respectively, and they have very similar stats across it all. Um, I it's hard to say no that they don't have legs when they can put up goals like they can, but it also is just such a very different build in my mind from last season. Like last season, if you told me Mario or Luigi was going to make a deep run at playoffs, I would have laughed at you. So I don't want to discredit them for something they can't control, but I'm also gonna be suspicious until it gets a little further in the season.
Yeah.
Personally, they're currently sitting 3-4, and I wouldn't be shocked if they end at 3-4 in the conference.
Yeah. I do think that I think it'll be a battle between me and either one of the bros for the second spot. But I do think that I will probably be sandwiched either above or between them. Well, I had another point. It's completely gone. What I was gonna say too, to even further your point, now that Garrett has picked up a Koopa, that literally was like Shell's team that was like bottom of the pack. All throughout last season before he began his Hammer Bro experimentation and he wasn't making roster changes. That's what he sat on week after week. So just goes to show what a different league it is. I have been like genuinely shocked at how well they have kept up with the power captains. I was not expecting that. Like if you look at I don't think I have access to the chart from display, but if you look at they are in tow with all the shooting captains, whereas the speed captains are just in their own shit league.
Hey now. After this past week, let me find the stat. I have, where is he? I'm only 0.3 goals per game behind Bowser.
But it's surprising how little Danny's team scores, especially Bowser.
Yeah.
He actually like his very never mind, that was before the stat was correct, but his impact was like bottom of captains. that was invalid data. But anyway, wait, I just kind of want to do this.
It's still pretty low. It's just above Waluigi.
This has to be one of the most heartbreaking endings to a game I've ever seen, which considering Garrett also finished his season last year on an own goal. So Garrett should stay away from the classroom because I was on the same map. But to have a Scott Sterling literally with like 0.6 seconds on the clock.
Oh my god.
Absolutely insane. And I didn't even think the angle was that bad. I feel like dry bones usually score from there, but he hits crit right on the nose. But anyway, insane series, super fun. Next series, probably one of the weirdest in the entire history of SPL. Hamilton, I do want to ask how it feels to be out-coached, out-managed by Eric.
I will take some grace in the fact that with a captain that has never won a series, I was able to win a game against the top team in the Spellcasters. Take him to 3. But at the end of the day, I'm still excited about the fact that I am due a PD because, PD's too offensive and Eric has gone triple shy guy. And I know that somewhere down the road this season, I'm going to have PD as my captain and Eric's going to have Daisy. And that makes me really excited.
I don't think that's how this is going to work.
It's tradition.
No. It's no.
We'll see. Only time will tell. I would like to present some pretty definitive data for the dry bones teleport theory. So we have 2 working theories. One is if he teleports underneath a critter, he goes up to the wall. The other is that if he goes outside of the plane of the field with his teleportation land. Here we see he has a fully charged ball, which probably means he's going all the way the fuck out here. If it were to land, and he just goes straight into the roof. So I'm gonna say I think that closes the case. Unless Hamilton, you have any other thoughts?
I think there is a chance that he was landing directly under Critter there, just because that's a more fun way to look at it. Um, I'm,
Sure, sure,
I'm, I'm,
sure.
I'm gonna say that that's what happened.
Yeah,
Because it's the dump, you don't move as far.
yeah, yeah.
We
That's
did
the
find out this past week he can cut through the corner of the goal.
yeah.
Yes.
We
He does
will.
not need line of sight to the goal.
Yeah, but if he lands outside of the goal, but he
Yeah.
can go through the wall. Um, insane. But it was actually a really solid week of predictions. I did technically win off the tiebreaker of getting the game score most correct, but we all went 5 for 6, which was a huge rebound after the prior week.
Pretty good.
Where I also won week 3. Don't get caught up in this graph. But we went from all being like 75% at least in predictions down to like 50%. And then this week bounced us all back up. But yeah, that was week 4, solid week altogether. Week 5, we kicked off with the absolute game 2 guarantee of Ham versus Adam, and boy, did that come true. Ham, how are the thoughts in the newly found Daisy camp? I guess before we talk about that, we should talk a little bit about all the roster moves that happened. Ham, I believe that this trade was secured on the night of the week 4 games. Is that right?
It was proposed and agreed to, yes.
Okay. Which
Dave,
technically did happen on stream. There was
this is true.
discussion of it.
This is true. But I will state that I am excited about this trade, and I think Dave is excited about this trade. It's once again a both teams win trade in my mind. I don't have Peach anymore, who's never won a series, which is in my mind a good thing. But Dave did take my dry bones, which definitely will hurt my team in my mind. But we scored 2 goals this week in week 5, which is up there with how many goals I've scored each week. So I'm looking at that now and I'm realizing that it's actually just the exact same number as last week and lower than every other week. So that's good to know. I was playing Adam, though, who is, in my opinion, the best team in the Spellcasters. Gonna throw a little bit of shade with that one. But we're excited to see how next week goes.
Yeah, and looking at your schedule, you have already gone through the pretty clear top 2 teams in the conference. And you play Waluigi, Dave in the Princess Reverse Grudge match.
Princess match. That's what I'm waiting
and
for.
then Yoshi to finish off. So you've already gone through the tough part of the conference. I do think that just looking at the standings, the climb into the I think you could touch 4th.
Maybe.
Well, those games are head to head. So
yes. But we decided that tiebreaker was what did we decide?
Conference record. So you would
Conference record.
if you went out, I'm pretty sure you would get it because you would beat them, taking away their conference record.
We're doing conference record over goal difference.
Yes.
Okay, I can figure out how to put that in there.
Yeah. Just because we wanted to have some significance to conference. Well,
yeah.
Anyway, if you win out, there's definitely a path to making it into the pro rel game, and then from there it's anyone's. But this week did not show out, unfortunately. But there's still some tweaks and things that maybe you can do to get better results in the future.
Colin, I will state that conference record is in the legend sheet already.
Cool. Awesome. Sick.
Game 2, we did not actually do Dan versus Reed. We did Dave versus Freddy because neither of them were there. Um, I think this was probably the closest that Peach ever
Yeah.
got to winning a series.
Peach
Was
with a 4-0 win in game 2.
yeah, the dry bones were kind of looking clean. Um, I don't know, man. What Colin, do you think there are changes that Dave can still make to make his team better?
I think so. I probably would maybe look into replacing the Toad with someone who can shoot, but I'm not really sure. Peach is a passer. Maybe a Hammer Bro could do something on this team. Be what I
Yeah.
would maybe look into, but you're gonna need to trade for one. And I don't
Yeah.
know if someone's gonna be trading a Hammer Bro for a Toad, considering Toad is currently available in the in the waiver wire.
Yeah, the stock crash of Toad will be studied. Toad and Boo will be studied for generations. Um, but
There'll definitely be a dry bones for Hammer Bro trade.
no.
But
Oh,
then you don't need it. If you trade the dry bones, then you probably don't need the Hammer Bro as much.
Yeah.
I think he needs to keep double dry bones to have even a semblance
Yes,
of chance.
I agree.
Yeah. As
But
someone who ran Dry Bones, Hammer Bro, Toad, I would agree.
um dang, my brain is like at like 50, not 50s. I can't even calculate the correct percentage of brain power that I'm at right now.
Peach was
Um
doing great, and then
It's too early in the
Peach was
morning.
doing great, and then everyone gave hope, and Peach lost.
Yeah. Oh, what I was gonna say is the cool thing about this season is if at any moment you're like, I don't think like you don't want to sacrifice too much passing, you don't want to sacrifice too much shooting. Balanced characters have a place, and we are seeing,
Yes, they do.
I think every single balanced character is in the league, and they actually do
That
have
is
some
true.
value when you're in this weird position where you don't really know what you want. Like I actually think that if you were to add a Shy Guy or a Koopa, to God damn, Eric actually might be a genius. Does Let me ask this question to anyone but Eric. Does Eric actually have decent trade capital by having all the Shy Guys?
I think no.
You think
He
no?
might just because there's. I don't. I don't know. You have to be in a specific position. There might be one or two people out there. I don't think anyone out there wants a second balance character besides Eric.
That's
And
true.
there are 7 non-Eric balance characters already out there across. So that means there's only what, like 4 teams out there that don't have a balance character.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, I am actively thinking about it, but now there are no balanced characters on the waiver.
Yes.
Which is crazy to think about. But
I'd say
anyway,
give it 2 weeks
yeah.
if you want a balanced character.
I'll give
Yeah.
you Koopa for your DK.
Sounds great.
Hey,
Next
that's
game.
the number 1 goals per game sidekick in the league.
I'm just gonna stop you right there, and talk about the next game. We had Danny run the back-to-back gauntlet of the same match 2 weeks in a row. He played both Mario Bros. I'm gonna double check myself, but I think at least 2 of the maps were the same in both series. So in against Garrett, he played Lava, Wastelands, and Vanilla, and against Reed, he played Lava, Wastelands, and Vanilla. And the first time he barely beat Mario, and then this week he barely lost to Luigi. Um, Garrett has been saying some stuff about how Luigi is definitively a better captain than Mario, kind of in the same way of like Waluigi to Peach, not Peach, Daisy, and then debatably, Diddy to
Peach.
Peach.
I got you.
Does Hamilton, do you think that Luigi actually is better?
I I was unaware that Garrett was saying this, and I was actually going to pose this question. Um, it's a little hard to, in my mind, just state, not look at the facts and go yes. It's a little crazy that all of Garrett's games were 1-goal games. So like that series was truly close. But if you look at the series with Reed, like it's a 5-2 win for Dan. Like no game was closer than 2 goals. And that was a 2-0 win. Um which is just kind of crazy to me. Um
I will
I
say this season it's much more of an equivalent conversation. If I can
I
pull
have a
up the stats on
question.
my, you have the stats.
I have stats. I also have a question for the less observant people out there. Obviously, Peach and Diddy have differences. What is there any gameplay difference? I guess Mario rolls and Luigi jump kicks. Is that the only difference in their in play? Like they have the same ability. What is the actual difference in the game?
Luigi has way better music.
does Luigi Mega Strike more?
No. Well, I haven't checked the
No.
stats on it, but
Mega Strike is Mario has 7 goals to Luigi's 5, which isn't really significant. Goals per game is Mario 1.78 to Luigi's 1.85. You know, there's not a ton of the total goals is Luigi has 24, Mario has 23. They're 1 goal off each other.
Interesting.
yeah, no, statistically they're having like the exact same season. And so a lot of it comes to, bias probably from last season, but then also too, you look at just kind of the point that Hamilton was just making, where Danny just played the same teams twice. Um, he
Did
literally
he make a
he ran the exact same sim and lost the second time. Which also could just happen. Like it's not. It's. I would expect variability game to game. 100%. The one
did
thing
he
that
make
is
a change?
interesting is if you take in our most advanced metric. Shout out to the stat lord. Of impact. That is where the biggest difference between Mario and Luigi comes into effect. So
I will say I've been looking into possibly taking out outlier games for impact because Luigi's is definitely carried by the fact that he scored 7 goals in one game, which really boosts up your impact. I think he has the single highest single impact game, and that is an average of all of your impacts. So that'll boost it for sure.
I did just pick up on something here where if you look at this Hammer Bro in the back, he seems to be visibly upset by Bowser's mental state. So I do think that there, there are some serious question marks about Danny's camp going forward because like
Oh
this
my god.
this is not what you want to see on the face of a player, like and this too, like coming from your leader, your captain, and then even Critter, like body
Head
language.
down.
Yeah, look at this man. He's questioning everything. He's thinking about if he wants to get a contract somewhere else. So maybe there will be a Hammer Bro on the market because that does not bode well. Um, last question on this game, Eric. I just got to ask you: when you see Bowser play after he went to Garrett's team this season, do you have any regrets about your trade last year?
No, I have zero regrets. I'm very happy with my team. Shy Guys are getting me far.
Not your team, your trade last year.
Oh, my trade last year?
Yeah, to get rid of Bowser and pick up Daisy when you were in playoff contention to take yourself out of it.
No. Bowser was not doing me well. And listen, I got wins as Daisy. Let's remember that.
You got win as Daisy.
And then won the toilet bowl, which allowed me to have Petey.
And now I ask you, what is the difference between Petey and Bowser?
He just has better vibes and plays better.
Which
Can't argue
all
with
the
that.
while
Both.
takes me back to this moment right here. I rest my case. Danny's in trouble. Dave versus Freddy. Before we look at any highlights, can anyone tell me a single? Oh, we already talked about that.
We already did that one.
Yeah, I still can't talk. I still can't muster a single thought about it.
They've had 7 goals.
Grant versus me. Geez, did we break a record here? No, we had a
13.
scoreagami.
We did get scoregami. We broke the record later this week, though.
We also did talk about the record and scoregami live in this game.
It is crazy that at the start of the season we thought that we would see fewer goals per game. I haven't run stats on goals per game, but we have seen the record like beaten multiple times, which probably has more to do with the fact that there are fewer dry bones in the field to play defense. But we thought that this would be a lower scoring season. That's been definitively not true. But this was an exciting series. I'm gonna let the just let the sudden death roll. This was this was one of the craziest sequences I think we've ever had. Definitely one of, not the longest, but probably the best overtime of all time. Is Grant's team the only team other than Eric that has any replicate sidekicks?
Yes.
I believe that's true just off the top of the head.
I think so.
Eric, as someone who's a fan of triplicate and duplicate teams,
Dave has 2 dry bones.
Oh,
Yeah, the double dry bones.
Screw that. That doesn't count. How do you feel about the double Birdo roster? Eric, that is.
The double Birdo roster has its times it shines. I feel like there are other times where it has altered a bit. I feel like Birdo is a sidekick you cannot have duplicates of.
What makes Shy Guy a sidekick that you can have duplicates of?
What playstyle is Birdo? Birdo also bounce?
No. She
There's
is
my answer.
Monty.
She's
Shooting
power.
defense.
Shooting defense.
There's my answer. I just think balanced works better when there's duplicates of balanced.
Yeah, that's, semi-coherent. But I guess in terms of Preds, let's see, was this technically an upset result, but we all had it going to 3, and Colin did correctly pick Grant. So shouts out to him for defending the pod. We got one result right for every single game. But banger overtime. Unless anyone else has any thoughts on this one, we can go ahead and roll on to the next one, which was Eric versus Jaco. Let's see. I do think that there is an inciting moment to this entire series. If I could put audio on here. Hamilton began questioning Jacob on Manchester United, probably right about at this moment. And I just want to ask Hamilton, were you directly trying to toss his season, or was that an accident?
I was truly just trying to talk to. I think there was a conversation about goal differential, because he got up 3-0 and he said he wanted more compared to, and so that talking about goal differential. And if you are following the Premier League at all,
the Manchester Premier League, yes, I am very closely.
The English Premier League, Manchester United.
They
Jacob's
have
team,
one in England too.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. They stole the idea, truly. They haven't gotten to conferences yet though, so like we're ahead of the game.
You can talk now.
But Manchester United is having a pretty bad season, but was playing Aston Villa this week, which is the team I support. And Aston Villa needed a lot of goals to fix some goal differential or some help to make Champions League. And so I was talking to Jacob about how confident he was, and you know, Austin's well aware of the fact that that conversation did spark Jacob's loss. It was direct correlation. And in the wise words of JB Vardy, chat shit get banged. Um, did end up Aston Villa lost to Man United, which actually removed them from Champions League on Sunday morning. And so Jacob took a loss in SPL. I took a loss in the EPL, which is the knockoff league, of course. Um, but I was not intentionally trying to make Jacob lose. No, I was just trying to talk some different Premier League with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, only time will tell the ramifications of that conversation. But
Yes.
right here, this is what being a good teammate looks like. So I just want to, Mr. Monty, statistical leader of all sidekicks, also leader on the pitch. Even when his captain's down bad, he's giving him a nice little rub on the back. So
Some would argue that he is the captain.
that could be true. But Eric, how are you feeling? You were down 3-0 in game 1. Somehow, I do not know. Did you? Oh, you mega striked in overtime. It's the first time I think we've ever seen a team win by 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you feel confident coming into this week, Eric? Like, did you think that you were going to get the win, or was it a pleasant surprise?
I felt like it was a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
My hopes were going down at the beginning of the first game, and then my hopes skyrocketed when a Shagai got a goal in a second left to put it in overtime.
Which I believe, I don't know. I'm just messing around now. I'm just looking for sidekick reactions. I'm playing a different game. But yeah, no, the Shy Guys actually were crazy clutch. I think you're talking about that. I think that was actually in game 1.
That was game 1,
Maybe to send it to overtime, but
What?
yeah, Jacob was shattered after that. But what a hit from the guys. And honestly, balanced sidekicks across the league are looking pretty strong. Was it? And this was a 3-game series, but I don't think game 3 was particularly close. I think you guys are kind of in control of that entire game. But a huge game to stay in control of the spellcasters with Adam kind of bearing down. I do think that you guys are the definitive top 2 in that league right now. Which
In
will
the
be
definitive top conference, I would like to clarify.
I mean, the top of their conference is very good. But down here is where you really kind of see the difference.
What?
Final game, Garrett v. Colin. The boys, both teams made a roster switch.
Both teams picked up a Koopa.
Both teams did pick up a Koopa. I feel like this was a pretty close game, which I know that you were excited about, Colin.
Yeah, all 3 games were 1-goal games. Game 1, we kind of got down 4-0 early. Tried to fight back a little too late. But they fought hard. Game 2 was peak Crystal Canyon, where I believe the first 8 possessions the captains weren't on the field. There were all just 2v2s with sidekicks, which led to our new record for highest scoring game at 8-7. The boys dropped 8, which as I don't even know if I've put up 8 in a week before. So that was exciting. And then game 3, the dump. I personally, I don't think I'd ever played on the dump, so it was a new experience as the manager. We didn't quite get it done, but I liked the addition of the Koopa. He dropped 1.3 goals per game. He will be staying on the roster for the foreseeable future. Literally has in 3 games scored 4 goals versus my Monty, who scored 0 in 9 games.
Yeah, and I feel like balanced characters are very good on Crystal, which kind of goes in line with the rest of your team. What's your current win rate on Crystal?
0% for sure. Definitely 0.
Oh yeah, take Colin to
I'm
Crystal.
I'm 2-0 on the Canyon,
Yeah.
which is reflected if you look at the manager stats. Not to toot my own horn a little bit, I have the highest win percentage over expected when I get my first choice through of any other team. So if I get my first choice, I actually have a really good chance of winning. Actually, no, that's a lie. Reed's is higher because if Reed gets Wastelands, he wins. But it's Reed and then me. The 1.8 win percent, or 1.8, 180. I don't know. I'm still figuring out how I want to display it.
Yeah.
But I think I have an 80% higher chance to win on my own map choice than on like a random map.
I don't understand all of Colin's stats, but I do know that higher is better.
Higher is better.
Yeah, that was a wrap for week 6 or week 5. Any early shout outs for overperformer of the week? I want
Let's
to
see.
Whoever scored the most goals for Colin in game 2.
In game 2. Let's see if I can find that out.
Like it's a pretty even
It
distribution.
might have been the kid. Scoring team. Let's see. Me.
Just because he's on the pod and
3 for Dry Bones, 3 for Diddy, 1 Koopa, and 1 Hammer Bro for my team in that game.
Give me the did.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the Shy Guy squad. They put a little bit of respect on their name this week by getting a tough result over Jacob. Trying to think anything else memorable.
Let's see. I'll pull the highest impact of the week was Donkey Kong. That's not really an overperformer.
The Big Nosh did score surprising amount
I
of
have
goals.
one. Austin's Monty Mole to be the only like Monty Mole besides Mr. Monty to actually put up a good result or a good performance.
Is there anyone on Reed's team that we can give a shout out? Because that was massive.
I was also gonna give a shout out to Dave's Dry Bone. I know there's 2 of them, but the fact that Peach won a game and almost a series, I feel like needs some recognition.
Don't forget Hamilton.
I could have had that.
You almost won a series. I don't even know who had a series that has been a shutout in 2 games, let alone now in best of 3s. Like this is definitely
still have
series
never had a-
scoregami, and it's not even close.
But we've never had a 3-0.
Where's Reed's team?
Underperformer of the week.
The person you would want to shout out off Reed's team would be Luigi, but that doesn't feel like it deserves a shout out.
Yeah, kind of in the same
For-
way as DK.
Austin, anyone on your team underperform, leading to your loss?
I mean, honestly, Terry and Barry, they're role players, so it's kind of hard to get mad at them. But they haven't really done shit. I don't think my
Didn't
Toad.
Boo score?
The Boo scored
this week?
so Terry probably.
Terry's one of 3 sidekicks to not have a goal.
Yeah, not a great statistical season for Terry.
Can I toss out Bowser for an underperformer of the week? I would like to clarify he did have 5 goals in a 3-game series. But
can I add this little tag on to make your argument a little bit stronger?
sure. I love that.
I feel like his Flames this season have been kind of weak. I also feel like PD's Mud this season has been kind of weak.
I would agree, except I'm pretty sure he popped off this week with it.
But across the season, um,
Having
does have
that big green shell in the mud was such an awkward moment. Just a whole like 10 seconds trying to get up and Mega Strike.
I mean, PD does have the second most Mega Strike goals in the league this season. So I
Behind
can't
Yoshi.
say that behind Yoshi. Yeah,
So we'll stick with Bowser's Flames. How many Mega Strikes does Bowser have?
Bowser only has 5. He also, as an individual, is only outscoring the speed captains.
Because his whole team is shooters, so that also plays
Yeah.
into it. Danny still has 3 slow characters on his team. Let that sink in.
Yeah, he hasn't made a roster move.
Yeah. I don't think anyone else really underperformed. I think if we went to the week before, we could probably not the week before. This week there were a lot.
Is there anyone on Freddy's team that we should put in there?
As an
No,
underperformer?
I don't think you can
as an-
underperform if you're not expected
Just-
to do a ton.
On the grounds that, yes, you're not expected to do a ton, but at the same time, you almost lost to Peach.
That is true.
But he also is a Waluigi.
Who's already lost to Diddy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think this is fine for now. I don't think we had a lot of underperformances.
okay.
But Pred totals, Colin is currently in the lead for the Golden Picker.
Does that keep me out of Division 2 if I win that?
No.
Division 2 of predictions. We can well
I get to
if
predict
you're the
Division
Golden
1
Picker,
and-
then you can still stay on the Division 1 SPL podcast.
Oh, nice. Nice. Ham, you're
Probably
running
for
the
that.
you're running the Division 2 podcast.
Ain't no way. I'm only one Pred behind.
Shouts
You
out,
might have the stats, but I have the vision.
Shouts out to the guarantee. I think we're 11 for 15 right now.
If it wasn't for week 3, we'd be doing a lot better.
I think we that might be
We've
wrong.
hit every guarantee except for in week 3.
No.
Oh no,
No.
me versus Adam in week 2.
Yeah.
That should
So
never been a
Colin's
guarantee.
sold.
So I definitely am that stat is wrong. Wait, no, yeah. That stat is wrong. I don't know how wrong it is. We're either 11 for 16 or 12 for 17. Something like that. Or I don't know. Either way, guarantee's doing good. Colin is the Golden Picker. Shouts out to anonymous Armadillo. But for this week, as is absolutely mandatory, could not go a week without it. We are doing a tier list, but we are doing a Sidekick exclusive tier list.
Oh.
Just because there is a lot of dialogue I think that can be had, because this has been a very different season in terms of Sidekick output and value. So we'll go how we usually go, where we go down the line. People can place.
Can I make one rule before we start?
Yeah.
Eric, you can't play Shy Guy.
Fair. Seems fair.
Okay. Well, we'll kick things off alphabetically. I was gonna say I'll play Shy Guy to get rid of that, but I definitely need to have the stats pulled up for this one. I cannot do this without some input.
I'll collapse so we can look at the characters as a whole.
Shy Guy is sitting at 0.4 goals per game, which is pretty average. 60% win percentage. Tied for the highest, but that's because they're all consolidated on the PD team. Doing okay in skill shot participation. I'm not gonna lie, like it's kind of hard to. It's
Look at that impact score.
It's heavily biased by the fact that they're all on Eric's team, but it's kind of hard to make an argument not for them being an A. So as a preliminary, I'm gonna place them there, and then we can adjust as needed. But just in terms of season 2 output, I'm gonna stick them there, and then we can tweak later. Colin, who do you want to place?
Hammer Bro. I feel like Hammer Bro's kind of gone a little up. He's had a roller coaster of a time here in this league where we were all really high on him early. Then we kind of fell off on him towards the end of last season. The Hammer Bros went fairly late in the draft. But I think Hammer was having a good season. Second highest in goals for sidekicks. Got the tied for the second highest impact for sidekicks, and I believe that is the highest striker index. Skill shots, he could be doing better. He loves to rip his skill shot, at least mine does, from midfield, which does not, go in. But I'm gonna throw him a B.
Okay.
Just waiting for you to put him down, just to make you pick him back up again.
Eric, who would you like to place? Eric?
You can leave Diddy there.
I'm gonna put Toad at D.
Known Toad hater.
I mean, to be fair, he's kind of getting validated this season.
Toad, worst win percentage, worst impact score, lowest goals.
We'll open it up to the table
It
later.
could possibly be from the teams that Toad's been on, but
Yeah, I think Toad is on both Princess teams for most of the season.
He's also on Austin's team.
Yeah.
And there's 2 in free agency. Right now he's on Yoshi's team, Peach's team, Donkey Kong's team, and then there's 2 in free agency.
And I'll tell you that pretty soon he's going to be on Daisy's team.
Hamilton, who would you like to place?
I'm going to take the steal here, make it really easy on myself, and put Dry Bones in S.
Okay.
No insight needed in my mind. Happy to debate that.
Well, we'll talk about it later, but I mean, he still is highest in goals per game.
Yeah. Highest in goals per game, still has a pretty good impact score despite being on bad teams.
Yeah. And also too, even just off ball, the fact that he probably makes so many tackles and hits that aren't calculated in any stats, it's hard to debate.
Look at that. Look at those Mega Strike numbers too. He has 17. The rest of the sidekicks combined have 15 for goals.
Crazy. I'm gonna take Koopa, and I'm gonna ride the Koopa Renaissance and put him into B. I feel like pretty much every team that has added a Koopa has become better after doing so. He is pretty high up in goals per game and is tied leader for win percentage on a diverse roster of teams. And honestly, the jury might still be litigating our case of ousting him from the league so shortly. And I think he's had a great season too.
I would agree. Can I split Monty Mole into standard Monty Mole and Mr. Monty? Because the standard Monty Mole,
Yoshi can be Mr. Monty, and
Monty Mole, I think should be in D tier, and then Mr. Monty should be in A tier. Mr. Monty has 14 goals in 13 games, the highest scoring sidekick in the league. The rest of the Montys combined have 11 goals, and that was with Austin's dropping a hat trick this week. Before that, they had 7, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He's a shooting sidekick that doesn't score. He has 3 total mega or skill shot goals. I don't know. He's not doing, I think, what most teams brought him on to do.
Ham, you're gonna say something?
I will save it for the appropriate time to share my own thoughts.
Eric? All right. Hamilton.
Good. I'm gonna throw Birdo, and I think I want to put Birdo up in B. Um, Also a redemption story from last season. Just a
I was
unstoppable
muted.
skill shot. Just kind of can is performing a lot better, as seen by the double Birdo team continuing to win.
Yeah, overall solid, and we don't track a skill shot goal percentage, but hers is 100.
Yeah.
I think we're 3 for 3 in all of SPL history. Eric, we can loop back to you for the final sidekick. Where do you want to place Boo?
We're gonna put Boo at. We'll put Boo at C. Mid area.
That's criminal from what you told me last night.
What,
So
what did he
I'd like
tell
to
you
put
last night?
in podcast writing that I was once again pestering Eric about when I'm getting PD last night because it's happening. And he turned to me and said, "I'll trade you both. We can just swap sidekicks." Like he wanted to trade away all 3 Shy Guys for my 3 sidekicks, which is the most mind-blowing stat to me. First of all. And then when I was like, Eric, what are your ideal 3 sidekicks? It was Shy Guy, Boo, Monty Mole.
Isn't that what you started the season with?
No.
No. He was Koopa Shy Guy, Monty.
Shy Guy Monty Koopa.
Well, you could make that happen.
Yeah, very easily.
I'm gonna make a very interesting request.
Sure.
I'm very bipolar. I have submitted 2 waiver forms. I would like those waiver forms canceled. If that is a thing.
I can cancel that.
Appreciate you.
Live on the pod.
Let's see what they were, shall we?
I'm fine to talk about that publicly, Eric, as long as you are fully rescinding them. Are you still thinking about it, or is it fully canceled?
Oh, it's fully canceled.
Well, first one, he was gonna drop a Shy Guy and pick up a Boo. Then he was going to I'm not gonna dox you, but you put your last name in for your team name. And you're gonna drop a Shy Guy and pick up the Monty Mole.
And that was going to be a double swap, Eric.
No
Also,
way.
you've also, interestingly, because you get the option to, rank the sidekicks in the order that you want them, he's gone Boo, Monty, Toad, Monty. So if Boo and the Monty were taken, he would have gone Toad and not the other Monty.
Dude.
How about aren't there 2 Toads?
There should be 2 Toads. It might not be updated.
I think it's 2 Toads and 1 Monty. I could be wrong.
Let's see. Roster. Free agents. There are 2 Toads. There's a chance. When did you submit that form? Oh, this morning. Okay.
It just like the underarching narrative that pisses me off this season is at any moment if like Danny or Eric just like locked in and made like 2 trades or 1 trade or just like 1 change, they would definitively be the best team in the league. But they already are the best teams in the league, so it just doesn't.
I would say the same thing about Adam if he submitted a roster. Or if he submitted map picks.
Yeah. As that is also fair. And then also probably Grant too. Especially now with just like the Toads and the Boos just sitting in the waiver pool. It's just painful. And to hear that Eric had done that and has now rescinded it is literally just put my brain in a blender. Okay. Open table for discussion. Do we want to leave the Monty split, or like now that the point has been made, and have Mr. Monty be a separate entity?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree. I think that Monty's might not have as much impact in the goal department, but I do think they are typically put in the back where fewer goals are scored from. And I think that they could just exist in C tier together. Or even B. I think that
believe
the Monties could, I don't know if you have this stat, but like goals by position for Mr. Monty.
I was working on it, but I didn't. It didn't work. But I
Okay.
will say we actually have most Monties being played in the midfield. In the last 2
Interesting.
weeks, we only had one defensive Monty.
Interesting.
I will say I want to get rid of Mr. Monty as a separate entity just for the sake that it's not fair to the sidekick as a whole to then grade the other ones when his best representative is then removed.
That's true.
So Hamilton, where'd you say you wanted to move him to?
B or C?
I think C without Mr. Monty. I think probably B with Mr. Monty. Firmly at the back though.
I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna be real. I want to put Hammerbro way up. I think
I think it
Hammerbro
should
should
be
be an
an
S.
I agree with that.
I'm fine with it. I was trying
I
not to
agree.
be too extreme.
Because this is just this is season 2, and this is with season like we're in a season 2 world. We're never going back to season 1 with infinite changes. So in a season 2 world where he's just a role player, I think he belongs in S.
You wanna move Shy Guy to S as well?
No.
Okay.
Honestly,
I'd like to move Toad up to C.
yeah.
Behind Boo, but up to C.
This looks like our early like this looks very similar to our tier list from like week 2 of season 1.
Yeah, this is how
Undervaluing the
people
passers.
this is how people built their teams last year. Like before we had any data, we've just fully gone back to 0.
We might be almost overcompensating. We have too much data, and so are discounting the work that Boo and Toad put in that isn't calculated as much, but it's hard when their win percentages just aren't really there. I guess Boo's isn't bad, but
Yeah.
0 skill shot participation.
Boo never
Interesting
skill
that
shots.
Birdo has negative impact. That seems wrong, but
It's because Ham's Birdo is terrible.
She's
And
not
it's
terrible
dragging.
either. She does really good on my team. My team just sucks.
True. Okay.
Does your Birdo play defense?
Does
Yes.
Yeah, so your Birdo is getting punished when your team just gets walloped.
are you guys in agreement that Shy Guy should be an A right now?
I'm
I
okay with it
cannot.
just because Eric's team is. I don't want him to be there, but I can't. I don't have anything to stand on to move him.
Yeah. Until
I will
Eric
then
starts
say,
losing.
is there any reason to have Koopa in B and Shy Guy in A?
I just don't. We don't have enough Koopa data. I think at this point, I guess he's up to 42 games.
Because he has slightly more goals per game and the exact same win percentage on a variety of different teams.
I'm okay with Koopa moving up. Feels wrong, but I'm okay
I
with
would
it.
either move Shy Guy into B with the rest, but I do think that what are Birdo and Monty's statistics?
0.53 and 0.45 goals per game.
So slightly better, but not really.
Pretty middling impact scores, although that's impacted by.
So we
if we
have
delete him,
basically
goes up pretty high.
just ranked people. We've just created an ability like a build. These are playmakers. These are power. These are balanced. And then these are the unicorns. That's all we've done.
Yep.
We've just
Good
ranked
work, team.
builds and strikers.
Let's go.
Does anyone have any changes they want to make? Because I don't think I do.
I'm good.
Wow, we've just really just drawn a circle. We have to
So
be
now,
I feel like we have to be over 200 games at this point. I stopped
oh,
keeping track.
absolutely.
Like, between season 1 and 2.
Yeah. I feel like it's over 200. Um
We've
Anywho.
got 91 this season.
Yeah.
Where are you
So
getting
That's
91?
not entirely
I'm getting
true. It counts all the voids.
73.
I counted
I'm
all
getting
the voids.
73.
um
73 this season.
this is the
Gotta
current
find the hidden
standings.
sheet.
But let's get into Preds.
132 last season. So we have
So that's
just
200.
eclipsed the 200 mark. Austin's got a nose for it. You never need to check his numbers.
No, do not. Whatever that BS Colin was spouting about scoregami, it's wrong. Shouts out to whoever added in Preds for this week. Love
Give
you.
me Adam and 2.
Adam
Eric
seems
Hater.
good.
Oh man.
His brain is firing as I watch you type there.
I don't know at what point we like is it fair or not for us to discuss Adam and Grant's map pool. I don't know at what point it should be public knowledge. I haven't memorized it. I haven't looked at it. I didn't do that when I did Grant's when I played against Grant.
Oh, I know at least Grant's been going to Crystal Canyon every week.
Yeah.
That's just from watching.
Yeah.
I can probably figure it out from the map, from looking at the map stats. Let's see what we got here.
I think
Flying
Adam
Dutchman's either
I think
banning
Adam also goes to Crystal
Thunderstorm.
Canyon. I'm gonna go Eric in 3.
Adam going to the lava pit because he's. Or let's see, where is he?
I'm
Played
tired
most?
of picking against Eric.
Adam's played.
Colin, what do
I'll
you
take
want?
Adam in 3.
Dude, if Eric had made that trade, that would have been crazy. Eric.
Me and 2.
Craziness that Eric missed himself in week 1 because he said he'll never pick himself.
We're not doing that anymore. Me and 2.
I think that
I'm making a statement.
I think that this is perfect though, that this is like quite literally our most balanced prediction possible. I think that does speaking
Someone
of
will
balanced
nail
So
prediction,
I'll
this.
be so honest. I wanted to change up the team, but the stubbornness part of me wanted those forms canceled because I want to continue to prove everyone wrong.
you're not proving anything. We already know that Triple Shy Guy is not good.
You
lost-
say that.
You tanked your playoffs last year. You can't salvage it. The league just sucks now.
And this comp is very good in the sucky teams.
Yeah, but you could be better.
Didn't you lose to? You lost to Garrett. Well, I guess
In this
Garrett's
game.
pretty good actually, but
Yeah.
I'm going Reed in 3 in the next one. I don't think that the Koopa edition for Garrett was a positive one, and felt a little bit reactionary after losing to Danny. So I'm actually bigger on Reed's team currently.
yeah, I was just looking to see what he dropped the Koopa for, and it was a boo. It looks
I'm
like.
really worried we're about to guarantee this, and I don't think it's a guarantee.
No.
But I also want Reed in 3.
I was also gonna go Reed, but I also don't think it should be a guarantee. I think it's like a 55% chance that Reed wins. So I'll go with a coin flip, and I'll go Garrett in 3, just to not guarantee.
He protects the guarantee percentage. Eric?
Garrett in 3.
Yeah,
And you
I
didn't
think
need to
that
do
is the
you
correct.
didn't need to do it, Colin.
I still think this is the correct predictions for this. They're essentially the same team. Sure, maybe Reed has a slight, maybe the Boo's a little better. We don't know what roster moves might happen this week.
I also will add that Garrett's gonna probably win the map pick game.
Yeah. Well,
How can
can
he?
he
What
win the
the
map?
fuck? What do you
What do you
mean?
team. What advantage is he getting from the maps?
I would not take Reed to Wasteland.
He has the same team.
I-
I also wouldn't take Garrett to Wasteland. I do think the one thing that he could do is put Crystal Canyon in there, and then I think having a Koopa on your team is an advantage over having a Boo.
They're both undefeated on Wastelands and the dump. Wait,
You're
no, I'm looking
welcome,
at
Reed,
Derek.
avid podcast listener.
That's they're both undefeated on the Wastelands.
Is this next one another almost mirror match?
Oh baby.
I guess.
I don't care. Fred and 2.
So Hamilton, your roster last week was Daisy, Monty, Birdo, and Boo.
Boo. And I'll tell you that because it's guaranteed that the Boo's getting swapped for a Toad.
So a very lateral change.
Yes.
Are you the number 1 on the waiver wire, or at
I am
least
number
top
2, and there
There's
are
two
two
Toads.
Toads.
And then Freddy is what? Koopa, Hammer Bro, and some shit. I don't know. So it's not it's not that similar actually.
No.
Fred's Monty Hammerbro Koopa.
Will Hamilton submit a form? It's also something we have to take into consideration.
Who knows?
He submitted like 2 this season.
I feel like Freddy's been chopping his roster so often too that I have like no conception. Last week he beat David. I guess I gotta go Fred in 3.
Me in 3.
Ooh.
He's getting a win.
Need it.
Eric.
I'm in 3.
What?
What balance? Ah, shit. I really need this win.
This is a great week of games I'm going to
It
throw out
is.
there.
Yeah, no, this is
It
this
is.
I think this is our best week yet.
Schedulers did great. That's all I got to say.
I would say the schedulers, incredible job. Whatever 2 geniuses make the schedule.
Oh man.
I'd also state that everyone who's like playing Grant and Adam is like a huge advantage because like Colin and I are the only two. First of all, I'm pretty sure we both lost
We did
that out
both
of
lose.
conference.
That was the only interconference game I lost. I went 2-1 against the spellcasters, and I lost to Adam.
Oh my
But like we didn't do poor.
It
I'll
was
go
all
first
in.
here. Give me Dan in 3.
Oops.
Not Dan. Please.
Colin.
It's 1M.
Oh boy.
Hamilton,
I'm
pronounce
looking
this
at
for me.
this.
Danny.
I'm looking at now. Put a Z in front.
Zidane?
Zidane?
I don't really know what to do here. Danny's team just wins, but their numbers don't look that great.
Deferring is a coward's way out. You must make a prediction.
Oh, I will be making a prediction. It will be in 3 games.
No, Austin just saying that he's going to defer. And if you're deferring until the end, that's fine. But you will make a prediction.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go with. I'll go with my uncle. Uncle in 3.
Unk.
Unk status for DK.
Eric.
Austin, I'm sorry. Danny in 2.
Oh my. Is Eric just pulling the Freddy?
No, you
I'm
can't
not-
because we haven't guaranteed anything on our side.
The freaking Freddy Preds. They're ridiculous.
We needed him week 4.
Facts.
I gotta go myself. Even though I think we've got very. Actually, there are things I can do to influence maps a little bit, but
Also, how am I pulling a Freddy
I
if
will
you
also add
already
that Danny
Danny
said
will
that
win?
Danny did
Yeah,
say he
we're
was going to
split
start
2
going
and
to
2 on
different
every.
maps.
We're
Yeah.
split
To
2
just
and
gather
2 every
data.
time.
We'll see how that goes. But I mean, Bowser is someone that you can counter pick. You need to counter pick maps against a little bit. Jaco versus Dave. I do not think that this is the first Dry Bones win. Who did Dave almost beat last week?
Freddy.
Yeah. I feel like David will get map advantage and sneak 1, but I've gone 3 in every game. I think this is the most lopsided game, so I'll go 2.
Oh, I just realized that your picks 1 and 2 and ban 1 is kind of public knowledge at this point because it is on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I'm not like really even
historically.
like I said. I don't even really intending for that to be private.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is public knowledge. It's on the stat sheet under manager data. If anyone really wants to look at it, doesn't have the full list, but it does have your first 2 picks and your first ban.
I was trying to think. I think Dave should go to Wasteland, but that's more for Dave's team. But I know that Jacob, I think, has submitted a roster that has correctly banned Wasteland. And so I'm going to go.
You might want to
Jacob.
ban Thunder Island at this point, though.
Yeah, the egg is
True.
broken on Thunder Island. You can't ban Wastelands and Thunder Island.
But I would definitely prioritize banning Wasteland because it's bad for Yoshi
Yeah.
and good for Dave. But go on him.
I'm going to do Jacob in 3.
The egg pop on Thunder Island is crazy.
I don't think it matters. He doesn't need the egg to beat Peach. Jaco in 2.
Will he Freddy or will he give us our first guarantee?
Will he make a prediction?
No.
I want to have faith in Peach. I really do. I really do. But I don't. Jaco in 3.
I'm not even gonna talk. We saw this before. We saw this before.
It's a different team. There was a trade that happened before that week.
Him?
I'll do in 2. Grant.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying.
I'm back in the boys.
1 guarantee
Three,
this week.
obviously. 3, obviously.
Colin in 3.
Ooh.
I think it's a non-zero.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's interesting to me that we don't have a Grant in 3, but not looking to fix it.
Last week we had only 2 guarantees, 1 absolute. The week before we had 4. This week we only have 1, and then every other game is 50-50. Which also most weeks we only have 3 people predicting, so maybe that's less.
Well, do we even have any? We don't even have. Even if you don't include Eric, it's still only 1 guarantee.
Yeah. And I do feel like the only series that is 50-50 that's probably would not like I think that this one most would not
Yeah,
consider to be a coin flip.
I would agree.
But every other one I think is just about.
Every
But
other one that's predicted 50-50 to clarify. Is that that's what you were saying?
Yes.
yeah, I'm
As in,
saying
like,
that kind of like
okay, I
on
just
paper.
wanted to make sure that we weren't assuming that my game was going to be 50-50 because I'm obviously going to win.
Well, yours obviously is
Obviously.
not a 50-50 by the fact. Oh wait, which one?
That one.
That's also true.
The-
Yeah, I forgot about that series already. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for week 5. We are about to pass the halfway point for conference play. We are
Season's kind of flying.
already past the halfway point for the entire season. And so with these final games left, there truly is everything on the table. It is going by crazy quick,
It
which
is.
is scary for the people who are in the relegation battle, and then especially in the
What is it?
MFNK,
Top 8 makes playoffs?
Top
not even
2 in
close.
each conference, and then 3 and 4 have a playoff with the other 3 and 4.
So technically, only the top 4 in the entire league are guaranteed, but that's in your conference, and then only 6 teams make playoffs.
I
So
do think it's a little interesting that, like, this many games in, the number of games played is only a separation of 1. Sorry, of 2.
mm-hmm.
Like, teams that are winning a lot aren't going to game 3, and teams that are losing a lot, in my mind, aren't going to game 3. But there's only been a difference there of 2 games.
Yeah, it's a minimum amount of games of 10 and a maximum of 15, and it's a very short spread. But on that note, I think we'll go ahead and shut it down. Shouts out to did I delete something? No, I didn't. Anyone that's listening at this point, I think in terms of regular listeners, we have David and Freddie. I think the only 2 people I've heard reference the pod now that Colin is on the pod. So shouts out to them. Thank you everyone for hopping on. Thank you for being here, Eric, as a special guest. It was nice to have your insight.
Hello, I was happy to be here.
Does Colin have a stat of the week to put him on the
Oh.
spot at the end?
Stat of the week. I have Hamilton's stat of the week
Yes.
that I will say. Well, I'll let Ham say while I buy myself time to come up with something.
My stat of the week was the surprising, in my opinion, fact that Monty Mole is tied. Sorry, come on, Mr. Monty is tied for the league leading in goals for. I feel like Mighty Luigi, we feel like he's scoring goals. He's got 2 9-goal games on Wastelands. But I feel like Come on, Mr. Monty's is a much more subtle 48 goals for this season.
My stat of the week was already referencing the pod that there was only one team that's 4-0 on a map. And it
I
is,
don't know if that's true.
you can double check, but I'm pretty sure there's only one team that's 4-0 on a map, and it's the Mighty Luigi on Wasteland.
We have Danny on Lava Pit is 4-0.
Psych.
What a stupid stat pull, Austin. Come on.
Actually, I just checked. I just ran the numbers in my head, and Colin's wrong.
You're right. You're right.
You have a team that's 0-5 on a map.
Yes, sir.
Danny on Lava Pit. Don't check it.
Might be the peach on the dump. Who's to say no?
So let's see. A quick stat. Let's see. The only team to have played on every map is Eric. And the only maps who have been played by every team are Vanilla and the Dump.
Did your princess stat hold up? Is my follow-up question.
Did the princess? Well, you are still undefeated on vanilla, having not gone there, and
Okay.
they've lost on vanilla, bringing his win
No.
percentage down to 50%.
So Daisy is undefeated on vanilla.
is still. To be fair, that was both teams were 1-0 on vanilla. There wasn't a lot of statistical
Lots of
significance.
data.
And that is the map that Eric beat Yoshi on last year.
What map?
Vanilla
Vanilla.
Vice.
Sir.
There are only 2 teams that have 4 maps with a 0% win percentage. And 100% of the captains on those teams are princesses of a kingdom.
Let's go.
But this stat sheet is just such a freaking treasure trove. Thank you, Colin. We even have scoreagami now. But before we waffle on to whatever the next thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Bob.